All right, hello YouTube. Coming at you today with something of a retro review, if you want to call it that. I would definitely call it that. Got a couple of things here that I wanted to review and take a look at, as well as do a small spiel about some things. All right, first off, I've been on eBay hunting and shopping and bidding, and maybe this isn't the most reputable place. Sometimes you find something valuable there. Sometimes, valuable, definitely being up to the person who receives it. But to me, I think it's pretty valuable. I think it's pretty neat. I got these at a great price, and just so happens they work. All right, what I've got today is American-made pocket watches. And like I said, this is from, this is actually one I got off eBay. Maybe some of you will recognize it, and it's made by the Waltham watch company. It comes in a chrome or silver case. I don't think it's real silver by any means. Not for what I won the bid for. But one of the reasons I liked this particular watch was because it had as well as the Roman numerals, it also had the 24-hour time below that, which I hadn't seen a lot of pocket watches that had that option there. Like I said, this is a Waltham watch, and one of the other things I really liked about it was the fact that it has this train here on the back, which is somewhat corny, but also somewhat of Americana. And I've actually been keeping an eye on these and placing bids on them and watching them on eBay, because believe it or not, whether most of us realize it, there is no such thing as an American-made pocket watch or 100% American-made watch from American parts that is still made in the United States. This was made at a time that I kind of think we need to get back to, and that's part of my little spiel. But if you look up the history of Waltham Watch Company on YouTube, I'm pretty sure that's where I watched it. There's some old history on what the Waltham Company meant to America and to its society at the time. So this particular model is an 885, I believe. A little unprepared. I should have prepared better, but anyhow, it has blued hands. You can see the sub-dial here you can see that it's wound and it's moving nicely. Now, it arrived in the mail. I got it for under $100. This arrived in the mail, and I was pleasantly surprised when I wound it. Set the time. It is a stem set, or what you would call a pendant set, where you pull this up and you set the time. Now, it's been keeping impeccable time. And this watch was, I believe, manufactured around 1906 was roughly the manufacture date of this watch. And for it to still be running, now it hasn't been serviced to my knowledge, hasn't been cleaned. I'm sure it needs to be, and maybe I shouldn't be running it without the service and cleaning of it. But this is when I wound it and it still worked. Just think of that. Think of the age. And it's still keeping time. And it will never need a battery. It just needs a little human interaction. And that comes in the form of waking up in the morning, winding it, and heading out the door, putting it in your pocket and heading out the door. And this is the way they told time back in the day. And I'll take the back off and unscrew it. And what you can see here is this movement is a 17 joule movement. And I left it as is. I didn't clean it up. I didn't change anything. Some of you will recognize this watch. Maybe you bid on it on eBay as well. Well, you'll see there's the balance wheel just spinning away, happy as can be. Now, I was a little bit concerned at first on account of this mark here. I didn't know what that meant when I seen it in pictures on eBay. Was concerned that maybe it was going to have a problem, but it doesn't. It's been running and keeping time great. It's really amazing to me. Now, the fact that this was 100% American made in a factory in America over 100 years ago blows my mind, and it still works. And if you, I don't know how good you can catch that. You can see 17 joules adjusted. Now you can see the joules, a few of them here in these cups around the balance wheel there. And in here is inscribed American Waltham Watch Company. And there's some nice scribing in here. And it's just a beautiful piece. And in my mind, it's a little bit of a romantic piece. And in here, you know, inside the case, even though this is not what you would consider a railroad grade quality watch, inside this case, now maybe this case didn't originally come with it, that's certainly a possibility, but you can see where people have taken this off and inspected it at some point, either this movement or the movement that was in this case previously, and they've inscribed some numbers in there. I don't think you can catch that, but it's labeled AWC coin, and it has the kind of a cross in there. I don't know if you can get that. Can you get that?
Give me a minute.
Okay, not focusing.
No, you need to stay still.
Let's put it down and let's see if we can get if I set it down, if that'll focus.
You have little scratches in
Okay,
here.
that's, yeah, you can see. All right, that's good. So that's one of them that I won. Now this is a size 18, and I was actually, when it arrived in the mail, I was actually really amazed that it still worked, and I was also kind of shocked by its size. And I know this is the 18, which is somewhat larger than some of the other sizes. But I got another one because I got on a hunt, and sometimes it's much to the chagrin of my wife, who doesn't really like that so much. But you know, she also supports me, and it works out. But while I was on the hunt, I was looking for 992, made by Hamilton, another great American watch company. Well, I was hunting for that. I came across this. They were going for quite a bit more money than I wanted to spend, which really, I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's about, most of them go for around the $250 to $300 range, which is a bargain for nowadays. Back in the day when they were offered brand new, they sold for a cost of anywhere between $700 to $1,500 based on the values of that day. That's what you'd pay for a brand new one today if they were still in business. Now, long ago, they were sold out to Swedish companies and Japanese companies. But this is my other watch that I bought. And I did a little research. This is a Burlington pocket watch. And this was actually manufactured by the Illinois Pocket Watch Company, which was another great American company that was eventually purchased by Hamilton. Now, when I bid on this one, it was in running condition. And it still is. I just received this not 20 minutes ago. And I wound it up. I took the crystal off here. This unscrews. And I'll go ahead and do that for you real quick. It's nice and smooth. This is a beautiful case. I thought it was in wonderful condition. And there's a small stem here, which is stem set, and I'd pull that stem out and go ahead and set the time. And that's how you'd set the time on these. But if you look at this dials also, this is a railroad grade. If you look at it, it has all the minute indices. It doesn't have the Roman numerals, not like this one, but look at the size difference. So this is something that you can clean, service, and put into service in your own pocket. You know, of course, I got to get a nice chain to go with it. But it's something that you could carry today. This prox was made approximately, what did I say, 1915, 1918, somewhere in there. Again, this is maybe not quite 100 years old, but it's definitely knocking on the door. This is a porcelain dial. You can see very, very fine hairlines in there. You know, I'm kind of new to the world of vintage pocket watches, but again, when I received this, I wound it, set the time, wound it, and it's been running and keeping great time. Now, granted, that's only been over a few minutes, so we'll have to see how it does over a 24-hour period. But this has seen service in somebody's pocket over the years, and you know, why it got set down, I don't know why it was available, but I was able to purchase this for under $100. and working condition. I thought that was fantastic. Has the 21 joule. Let me take off the back of this one and let me show you the movement here. So Burlington Watch Company, they believe that the average cost of the pocket watch was out of the price of and the reach of most Americans, working Americans back in the day. So they offered their watches via the mail, and they were built by Illinois Pocket Watch Company for them. But if you look at that movement, and you can see this is a 21 joule. I don't know if the camera can focus in on there, but you can see 21 joule adjusted for temperature and positions. Look at that. You can just see the inner workings. What craftsmanship. Now, I understand from what I've researched that this setting here it's set to the fast side, and while it's keeping great time, generally that indicates when you have to set it that far so it doesn't lose time, that it needs to be cleaned and serviced. So that's going to be in the near future. But I wanted to show you this, and my little spiel is, and I know I mentioned that Americans don't make these used to be 100% American made. Every component in there, every wheel, every spring, every detail, every screw was manufactured in the United States and put together by an American employee, an American worker. And we've sold that, and now it's not available. Now, you do have a great company, and I do somewhat lust after some of their products, and they're out of Detroit. And for those of you who are fans, I know the name of the company is Shinola. And they're manufacturing watches, they're quartz watches they're manufacturing, but they're manufacturing them with Swiss parts, which I still think it's a great thing. It's a step definitely in the right direction. But by contrast, let me show you this. This is what we gave up, this kind of heritage, and we ended up putting things like this. And now this is not a bad watch. It's ran, you put a battery in it, it's a quartz, it's always accurate because it's quartz. And it broke. You know, the hands kind of don't keep time. The second hand ticks, the hands don't work anymore. I use this at work. It's chipped up. It's been beat up. But it was good. And you see, you know, it says U.S. Army on the back. But the funny thing is you open this up. Let me show you what we traded in, what we cashed out for. And this is what you can expect to see even in some $200-300 watches. Now, if you look at that, and you look at the back of this case here, it says China. And most of the components in the back of this watch, let's put it here side by side as a comparison. Look at that. This is plastic. This is a big plastic spacer so that it can fit this little small metal piece with a battery in it. That's the movement. It's a Miyota quartz movement. That's a Japanese movement in a Chinese case with plastic. And a U.S. Army face. This is what we cashed in. We traded in this heritage and this quality for something like this. That's a little bit of romance, but I can really, seeing this and this side by side can really make me appreciate this era, this time. Now maybe some things were not as we would have liked back then, but can't we still build something like this? Are we not capable? I mean, that's just my spiel. But anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the reviews. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch and listening to my little spiel. I know there'll be those of you who disagree with a lot of what I have to say, but that's okay. That's what part of who we are. And thank you for your time.